So have the kids interviewed you for their?
I think I'm
Is it a
next. You're
Harpcast you call it?
first. Harpcast, yes.
Okay.
Harp podcast. Very creative.
Okay, I should
Alright,
say.
high five.
Now
I'll
yours,
see you.
that's Sophie, right?
Yes.
Sophie and Fizza. I got it.
High five.
Hey guys, Sophie here. So our mics actually died in the middle of the recording, so you probably won't be able to hear us very well, but after listening to it, it should be fine, so I apologize for that. But let's just get on to the video. Bye!
Hi guys, welcome to today's Harpcast video. I'm your host Sophie,
I'm your host, Fizza.
and today we are joined by
Franz Krager.
Woo!
What were you going to say?
I say Mr. Krager.
Oh, okay.
That works out.
I'll accept that.
So Mr. Krager is going to be our clinician for today. So we have him as our interviewee.
Guest.
Guest.
Wow.
Wonderful.
So we have a couple questions for you. So first question we'd like to ask everyone is, how is orchestra going? I know you're
You
at...
mean my orchestra
Your
over at the
orchestra.
University of Houston?
Yes.
Any orchestra, yes.
Well, any orchestra, I think they're all doing great, but mine's doing really great.
Oh.
Yeah, this is my 31st year at the University of Houston as director of orchestras. And yeah, we're starting the season in a week from now with the Miraculous Mandarin of Bartok.
Wow.
Wow.
And I've got a violin concerto, Korngold, with our new, fairly new professor of violin. Her name is Manwen Lowe. And some Coleridge Taylor also. So yeah, things are going really well over there. But they kick me out by now if it wasn't.
So the next question is, if you had to rank the 5 orchestral instruments, what would you rank them?
5 orchestral instruments in my preference of.
In your preference, yes.
Of what? Of loving it, hating it.
Of loving it. Like
love. You're putting me on the
best to
spot.
worst.
You're putting me on the spot in front of all those people asking me what my favorite instrument is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would have to say mine, percussion.
Percussion.
Surprise!
Oh.
I was a percussion major, indeed, and I love percussion instruments. But now you're making me pick number 2.
Sure, number 2.
Oh well, since I'm an orchestra director, I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for string instruments. So can I lump violins, violas, cellos, and basses all together and say I love all strings?
We'll
And
let it
you know
pass.
technically what another string instrument is?
Harp.
So we could throw harp into there, my second choice.
Yep, we'll let it pass.
What about third?
Well, you really put me on the spot. Yeah, well, then I'd have to pick all the winds, brass and woodwinds. Would you forgive me for being a cop out?
I mean, we'll let it slide for now.
Well, that's good, yeah.
Okay.
For now.
Is that enough for now? Or do I have to go to
Yes.
number 4? I'm running out of
I think
like
we're
banjo or something.
banjo number 4. Honestly, banjo's like pretty good.
Oh.
A little silly one.
Yeah.
Okay, so our other question is, what is your favorite place that you have conducted in the past?
Oh, I have lots of favorite places. You know, I conduct all over the world. If you're talking about beautiful places that I've conducted in, probably Italy. Italy. In fact, I was just there this summer. I've had a relationship with several Italian orchestras for the better part of 30 years.
Wow.
So I've been over there a lot. I've been to England and Russia and Germany and Spain and China and Singapore and all over the world. So again, you're putting me on the spot when on public media there I have to cite one country I like better than others. But I've had such a long relationship with Italy that the food, the wine, the seascapes, the landscape. Yeah.
The next question is, what is your favorite piece, and do you have a story behind why it's your favorite?
Ooh, favorite piece. You know, as innocent as all your questions are, they're all hard because trying to pick a favorite piece is like picking my favorite instrument. I mean, I love Beethoven symphonies, I love Brahms symphonies, and Schubert symphonies, and Schumann symphonies, and Tchaikovsky symphonies. It's just hard to pick one. I had an instance in Russia one time with a Russian orchestra where we were doing Gershwin. I'm trying to think of which one it was. Yep, American in Paris. Ever heard of it? Got some
Listen
good
to it.
good harp parts. Got a good harp part. And after the concert was over, there was a trumpet solo, and I wanted to acknowledge the trumpet player, so I walked back to get him up, and he saw me coming in the concert. He went like this, pushed his chair back until he couldn't go anymore. He'd fall off the riser. And I reached down, and he thought, I don't know what he thought, and I took him gently by the arm, and I pulled him up. And now he's standing there. He still is in the audience going cuckoo. Oh, bravo, bravo, throwing flowers on the stage. And so he's standing there like this, and I stepped back and acknowledged him like this, and he started to cry. A grown man. This was a professional orchestra. He started to cry, and then orchestra started to cry, and then the audience started to cry, and then I started shedding tears. And it was all about, I think, the fact that he had never been acknowledged before, and he didn't know what to do. So the ovation for that one piece was probably 20 minutes long. Can you imagine that? 20 minutes. I must have gone on and off the stage 20 times. And they were piling the front of the stage with flowers and people lining up to shake my hand.
That's amazing.
I've got several stories like that, but that's the one that comes to my mind first. So that was Gershwin. Now we're talking about George Gershwin.
I remember you telling us that story during full orchestra.
You did
Oh,
last year.
did I tell you that story?
It was during Firebird. We were at
Uh-huh.
Firebird. We were talking about Russian.
And how did that go, by the way? Did you get honors?
We did. We did get it.
We
that
did?
year,
I
yeah.
actually don't even know.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
You mean Miss Behrens didn't even tell you how you rated?
That's what Miss Barron's question.
Honestly, I know there's one good take and one really bad
Really,
take.
really bad take.
Okay. Really bad because everyone was sleeping or something? Sleeping at the switch?
We
I
can say that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, honestly, that probably would be better.
Okay.
Okay, so,
For college students, make sure you're paying attention, or future college students, for this question.
what would you look for in an audition, and what would your recommendation for students to avoid?
Wait, say the first part of it again.
What are you looking for in an audition, and what would you recommend to students to
Okay.
avoid?
Well, Well, to avoid being nervous is probably the best advice I can give, but that's really hard. I mean, I would be nervous too if I was auditioning for somebody. But what you have to try to do is go in and tune out the situation and put yourself like in a room like this where you're all by yourself practicing, rather than think, oh, I have to play in front of all these people. That's what gets everybody. Easy to say, hard to do. The other part of the question, what do I look for in an audition? I think most people like me listen for fundamentals, tone, intonation, which you don't have to worry about so much, rhythm, style, all those things. Because I think if you have a grasp of the fundamentals, and that's true in sports, it's true in anything, business. If you got the fundamentals down, you just apply those things to your musicianship and you excel. I think that's what audition panels really listen for. If you've got all the things down, but your tone sounds a little nasally, what was I saying? We're talking about fundamentals.
Yes, fundamentals.
Yeah.
Business.
How important they are
Yes.
and everything else. Oh, I remember what I was telling you. If for instance you're in tune and you've got a nice style going, but you sound like this. It's like a teacher with a voice like this coming in to lecture to the class, and everybody can't get over the voice.
Yeah.
So they don't listen to anything else. That's, if you don't have a good tone on your instrument, that can be a problem, even if everything else is there. So fundamentals, pure and simple.
You hear that? Fundamentals.
Fundamentals.
Yes.
Rudiments.
Fundamentals.
Yeah.
So our next question, it kind of is based off the last question, but what stands out to you personally in players, whether it's personality-wise or playing-wise?
You mean what stands out as far as striking me is, well, if we're talking about music, then I would say musicianship is what strikes me first. I mean, some people have the knack to play, whatever they play, it sounds wonderful because of their phrasing, their sensitivity, the way they turn a phrase, accent note versus non-accenting a note. Of course, general technique, That's always impressive when somebody can get around, with all the right notes. That's always impressive. But when you can get all the right notes and say something musically, what else is there for a musician? That's what it's all about. So I look for those things, and I think personality plays into your musicianship. Because personality, if you're a happy person versus a depressed person, when you're trying to play a happy music and being depressed about something, it doesn't compute. You can pick that up right away as a listener. So, I mean, everything has to come together. You have to feel in a good mood. You have to be playing a great piece, and you have to play it great, and then you're there.
That sounds about right. Honestly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because I'm actually auditioning for Region. So
Good for you.
that,
Oh. Now, our listening audience here, are they all harpists or
no.
It's
anybody?
anyone.
Anybody. Oh, okay. Okay, well, hello out there. Hope I didn't bore you.
Fortunately, you didn't. So I think we should start wrapping this up. We have
Okay.
5 minutes left. But finally, are there any words of wisdom that you like to spread to the viewers?
Words of, you mean just general words of wisdom related to music?
Anything.
There are musicians watching, non-musicians.
Well, if it's not related to music, I say enjoy your life. Have fun doing what you're doing. Pick something that if you're going to do for the next 50 years, like you have to consider. I mean, what are you going to do after high school? Are you going to do music? Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever it is you pick, love it. Don't let anyone tell you what you should be doing for the rest of your life. A lot of times I get students who come in, even at the university, who come in with serious talks with me, and they cite their parents as being not supporting them if they go into the arts. Have you heard that before?
Yes.
That always puts me in a very tough spot because I am not in the business of advising students how to deal with family things. I can't go there. But what I do tell them is project your next 50 years and project what it is you're going to do in college to prepare you to get out in the real world. What's that going to be? And does that make your heart sing? And if the answer to it is, I don't know, I think you've got a bit of a problem. If the answer is absolutely not, you're already living a problem. If you say it's going to be music or it's going to be math or it's going to be law or medicine and yes, I love it, you got the world by the tail. That's the best advice I can give because I've seen many, many times. How much time do we have? I've got
3:08, 7 minutes.
three minutes?
7.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Oh, okay.
3:15.
I taught. Let me tell you this story. This tells you what I'm trying to get the point across as. I taught at Texas A&M University before I came to Houston, and I did a lecture class there, general music appreciation. So I had students who were not music because there's no music up there, but they're in all these different areas, and they all came into my class, and I was teaching music. And I noticed on the first day of class, there was in the back of the room, and this was about 90 seats in the room, there was an elderly gentleman with gray hair and glasses, and he sat in the back row, and he didn't look at all like a student. And I saw him every day. He would be in the back there. And one day, about 3-4 weeks into the semester, he actually came down to introduce himself to me. And I said to him, you're obviously not an undergraduate student, not even a graduate student. He said, no, I'm a professor. I said, a professor of what? He says, medicine. I said, what are you doing in my class? He said, let me tell you why I'm in your class. He said, I'm originally from Australia. He said, my grandfather was a doctor. Okay? My father was a doctor. His brother, my uncle, was a doctor. So what do you think the family expected me to do? And I laughed and I said, probably be a doctor. He said, exactly. And I thought, uh-oh, what did you really want to do? He said, I wanted to be a musician. And he said, I fought with myself about this. And he said, I eventually lost the argument and had to capitulate and do what my parents wanted me to do. He said, I'm a doctor. I'm a good one. I'm a very good one. He said, but I hate it. I hate it. And he said, I hate this job. As good as I am at it, I hate it. He didn't say I hate my parents, but he said, I'm very resentful for being pushed into an area that I had to spend the rest of my life doing where I'm not happy. And he said, I'm taking your class as an auditor because it makes me feel closer to music. And when he told me that, I started with tears. I've been put in a lot of awkward positions in my life, but that was one of the most awkward. And that was his story. He's living a life he didn't really want to live. He's good at it, but it doesn't make him fulfilled. And he would much rather have been a musician in his case. But he was forced down a track where he wasn't really happy, but he did it out of duty. And he's probably deceased now. He was an older man when I met. That was, God, 30, 40 years ago. But I remember it like it happened last week. So that's my advice to people. Do what makes you happy and don't let anybody put you on a path where you don't feel personally satisfied with, because you're the one that has to live your life. Nobody else can live it for you. Ta-da!
That was some wise words from Mr. Krager. With an interesting story with it too. That probably would have been left in my mind for.
Yeah, it's still in mine.
So I think the rehearsal's about to start. So I think we should end it here.
Make sure you tune in every week
on Wednesday, because next time it could be
you.
Thank you for watching, and thank you, Mr. Krager.
Real pleasure.
Any wise words?
Keep practicing.
You heard it.